Cyclone, the original. Cyclone! 4 new ways to answer the call of Cyclone. Start with the Cyclone RC. Molded for motion, this one is fast as hell. Now here's the new Cyclone RN with better scanners for your scouting needs. What's that you say? Speak up, I can't hear you. You want a machine gun? Then choose the Cyclone TR. And the new Cyclone AA with new features like this really huge gun. You can take down ships, take down anything you want to. It's huge! Answer the call of Cyclone, the original and still the darn tootin' best vehicle of its kind. You're ahead in a tumbrel all the way.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Around the Verse. I'm Eric Kyron Davis.
And I'm Josh Herman.
Paging Mr. Herman. Mr. Herman? Wow, nice. Today we check in with the VFX team on thruster effects, get the scoop on some new weapons coming in Alpha 3.5. Jared returns. I don't know if I'm ready for that. And we get a lot closer to ArcCorp with a look at environment tile sets.
I love environments.
Okay, and I love tile sets. Last week, the Sombra Corporation got together for King of the Ground, a PvP event that pitted Dooners against Marines in a battle to seize control of an outpost.
I really enjoyed seeing all the different armors in actions in events like these.
You would.
I do. Last weekend, we invited our community to take the Gladius Valiant for a test flight and show our best formations in celebration of Australia Day.
As usual, we had a ton of great submissions. Head to Spectrum to check out the winners.
I never cease to be impressed by our community. There's some really cool shots.
Yeah, absolutely. Now back at CitizenCon, we introduced our upcoming new flight model, and over the past few episodes, we've been exploring how the different aspects are being developed, and that includes VFX work. Now let's go to Jacob Beckley for more on that.
With the new IFCS system, you're going to be able to have your thrusters damage on your spaceship. This is really going to affect how combat works and the way your ship flies. However, there needs to be a visual representation of this for the players. They need to be able to see how damaged both their opponent's spaceship is and their own. We're currently in the research and development stage, trying to achieve a visual goal that we want to get across all spaceships so that there is the same band of quality across the board. This phase is really fun. I get to kind of just throw stuff and see what sticks. I can just, throw loads of fire in there, loads of smoke, loads of sparks, and kind of get to be excessive. I don't have to worry about optimizing anything or kind of making it work too much. I can kind of go, this is what we want, this looks awesome. How can we make that work and make it work well? Within the visual effects, there's going to be a lot of sparks and dust from fire, plasma, anything you kind of looks chaotic, and it's got to look really obvious. We're wanting to really put in like big plumes of fire coming out, big like explosions of smoke coming out. Maybe once your thruster gets like absolutely destroyed, we're going to have big sort of whirling fire wind maybe coming out the back if we can. The way I go about creating these is using our particle editor, as I would for spaceship thrusters. However, I need to go inside DataForge, and we've got new things with the IFCS2 that allow me to control the damage amount being fed into my particles and use them to manipulate how things work and how things look at specific points in the damage. It needs to work on all levels of damage, from barely being hit to fully being destroyed. The more variants we can show to people, the more we can decide and get more feedback.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, yep.
What is your favorite ship in Star Citizen?
It's funny you should ask that question. It's actually immortalized on my license plate now, there. The 890 Jump.
What a successful transition.
Thank you, yep, right? Now let's go to Jared to find out more about it.
The ship teams around the world are firing on all thrusters, building out the ships you're going to see in the upcoming Alpha 3.5 and beyond. For the Origin 890 Jump, we're in gray box phase, where the teams have completed the white box layout and are now building out the geometry that will lay the groundwork for final art. Part of what we're doing right now in gray box is determining the proper turret placements for this very well-armed super yacht, some of which you can see here and here. We're also exploring the overall exterior window sizes and shapes, as well as thruster orientation. These aren't the final signed-off locations yet, but that's quite literally what white box and gray box is for, to work these things out. For the interior, what you see here is a mix of white box and gray box design as work continues. In the atrium, we really thought Times New Roman sells the notion of luxury. Hi, John Crew. I'm teasing, it's temporary. And work has begun on the master suite with some really cool stairs that double as decor. The medical bay and everyone's most requested amenity, the bathrooms. As development continues, one of the things our teams want to address with the 890 jump is the sparseness found in its predecessor, the 600i. As this is still gray box, we'll have more to show you on that as the work progresses. Now, looking farther ahead into the future, we've got work continuing on the Anvil Carrack, which is also in mid-gray box. Now, up first, we'll take a look at the drone bay, sans drones. You can see the drone control station there in the back and the hooks for the drones up above. The mess hall, social center of any spaceship, and where your bathroom gameplay loop begins. And the bridge, where all the action happens. And you can see here that we've still got the 3 hanging seats on extension rails, and after experimenting a bit in white box with the radar globe from the Idris, we've actually decided to go back to the mapping table idea found in the original concept, while work continues on the exterior, which you can see here. Now, of note, the various retractable antennae on the top are simply retracted here and will be a triggerable state so that you can decide if you want to fly with, pointy things or not pointy things. It's your call. Finally, just as we experimented with the radar globe, we've made additional iterations to the landing gear and profile of the ship, bringing the overall silhouette lower to the ground and less looking like a Datsun. You may also notice progress on the retractable cockpit shielding too. Overall, I think the Carrack's coming along pretty well, and it's a good thing because everyone knows this is my favorite ship. Actually, it's looking so good, it is becoming my favorite ship.
For ships in gray box, those are looking pretty great. Wow. We've got some updates from the world of weapons. Here's the Coda pistol from Castech Arms.
You can never have too many pistols.
The S-71 assault rifle from Gemini.
Looks as cool as the SR-71, huh?
Nope. And for ships and vehicles, this concept for the mighty Tarantula ballistic cannon from Gallinson.
Now that's the one I most don't want to be shot by.
Do you prioritize these things?
Well, I am a studio director, Josh. We prioritize everything. Finally, this week, one of the most highly anticipated features of the upcoming Alpha 3.5 is the persistent universe debut of ArcCorp. Unlike the natural beauty of Hurston, ArcCorp is covered head to toe in man-made structures.
Planets have heads and toes now.
That's what happens when you miss meetings.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Let's check in with Luan Vetteretti for a look at the work he's doing building the buildings of ArcCorp.
So since the last time we've seen ArcCorp, a lot has happened. We've done a lot of work with the industrial and the suburbs areas, and right now we're really trying to nail the look of the buildings and how those scatter, how the buildings around Area 18 might look, how the transition between that and the industrial might look. So we're really trying to look at the planet as a whole and trying to blend all of these elements in. The main focus right now for me has been on the suburbs. The suburbs and lower suburbs area are pretty important because that's the immediate area around the landing zone. So the landing zone is composed of Area 18, some city tiles, which are kind of like, if you think about Austin, downtown Austin, where the tallest building would be Area 18. And then you have this gradual sort of rise that would be the downtown areas and the lower suburbs, and then it would go off into the industrial areas. For the low suburbs, we're looking at buildings at no higher than about 350 to 400 meters. The reason for that is because we're exploring different heights for the no-fly zone. We're trying to validate these buildings on a artistic side from anywhere between 350 to 600 meters in height. We found more comfortably now, we're at about 400 meters, and that makes the buildings look just good enough, even though they're low poly, that they're believable for the player. And they integrate pretty well with the ground texture, which is essentially these buildings taken from higher up and baked down into a flat plane with parallax occlusion to create depth. So this kind of creates enough of a blend that it looks like a really dense city, and it looks believable enough at about 400 meters so that the no-fly zone can come into effect at that point. So from the low suburbs, you go into downtown. Downtown is all about these higher buildings that go towards Area 18. So the city tiles are a little bit more bespoke, but they're not scattered procedurally by the planet. So one of the tests we've tried is how would this look if it's just procedural buildings? How would this look if this is just tile buildings? How would this look if it's a mixture of both? So right now we're looking into maybe having more of these bespoke buildings around Area 18, whereas the rest is all sort of these procedurally scattered buildings. But maybe we can take a few more of these city tile downtown buildings and put them around the ecosystem so that you can have areas to look towards and go to, and areas to go and land on and fly around. With the downtown buildings, we're looking at anywhere between the no-fly zone height to 800, maybe even a kilometer tall buildings. So these are dense enough, but there's enough of them that it can create enough of an opportunity for the player to fly around when they're going towards the spaceport in Area 18. With ArcCorp, having the no-fly zone much lower and these buildings much taller, not only will we be able to fly around them really nicely, but IFCS2 is sort of an opportunity for us to look into how to create that experience that isn't frustrating for the player. For example, if you just fly through that no-fly zone and you just die, that is a little bit annoying, having to go back to, say, your spawn zone, get your ship again, and, you know, maybe one of the things we can do that we're looking into is as you fly past the no-fly zone, IFCS2 can warn you and take control of your ship and bring you back up. So that's one of the things we're testing. There's 3 more tests to go, but we're in a good balance between an experience that's fun for the player and an experience that validates art from a good enough distance. So I think the main takeaway for trying to achieve ArcCorp is to create an experience that's not only very believable, but, you know, create a sense of wonder. This city that's, you know, the size of a planet. So I think ArcCorp should be a really, really good opportunity for the players to, you know, meet up almost anywhere and create all kinds of different gameplay scenarios, like missions, which could be really interesting, and, you know, even landing on top of these buildings and maybe, you know, getting your sniper out and just watching for the right opportunity to strike against the player. So that could be one of the things that are, you know, really excites me.
Now, while we aren't promising that you'll be able to fly or land everywhere, we are as excited as you are to fly through the man-made canyons of the city-covered planet.
I'd just be happy if the no-fly zone didn't immediately blow me up.
That's on the list too. Good. All right. And that just about wraps us up for this week's show. Remember, the Tumbril Cyclone commercial contest is still accepting entries. So get out there and kick up some dirt.
Don't forget to tune in tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific for the return of Reverse the Verse Live on twitch.tv/StarCitizen. Jared will be sitting down with Todd Pappy to answer your questions about the current state of the game and work on the upcoming 3.5 patch.
As always, thank you to our subscribers for sponsoring these shows.
Yes, and of course, thanks to all the backers for making the development of our games possible. Until next time, we'll see you both.
Oh.
I added that in there.
Around the verse!
Around the verse. You're welcome. Both? Where did that word even come from?
Just you two. No one else. Just you two. Figure it out.
Thanks for watching. For the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42, you can subscribe to our channel, or you can check out some of the other shows, and you can also head to our website at www.robertsspaceindustries.com. Thank you very much for watching.